But yeah, it's I gotta say, it feels very close to ready. Let's see if I can ready. Okay, so there you go. Get some smoking. You got your ESF one. You can certainly hit these bastions from miles away. Hello, fellow Araxians. This is Commander Cyrious. Something huge, something massive, something colossal, if you will, is coming to Planetside 2. That's right, this tank has been teased for years. In fact, short of his guide on getting certs, Drax Gaming's video covering the prototype tank, as it was at the time, is his most popular Planetside 2 video. And that was 2 years ago, guys. So finally, we are on the cusp of this thing hitting the live servers. I mean, it's well beyond a concept at this point. It is fully formed. Daybreak Games ran a playtest over the weekend, which I participated in. And I took this hulking machine out for a spin. Now I'm leaving my in-game audio on just so you can catch some of the sound design on it. I think it's excellent. This thing rumbles and whines as it makes its way across the terrain of Araxis. So guys, we're going to go over design, loadouts, and functionality, so you know what to expect from the Colossus tank. So let's start with how you're going to get this thing. Please note, all this footage is from the test server. Cost and time to craft will not reflect the live play environment. So we don't know exactly, but it will be crafted with outfit resources requiring Araxium, Synthium, and Polystellarite. We can also assume it won't be a multiple piece craft item like the Bastion, but I would expect it's not going to consume weight in your outfit inventory, so you can have them on standby when Bastions descend to Araxis. Now that you've crafted your colossal tank, you'll need to find a terminal to pull it from. You can find them in tech plants or at your warp gate. I tried to hack the colossal tank terminal at this tech plant without success. I don't know if that's an oversight or intentional. For the time being, you should plan to pull from your warp gate, which is the safest, or control a tech plant to get one. So you found the terminal, let's talk about armaments. The Colossus is a 5-man tank with the driver manning the main gun, with 4 turret options that can be mounted to hardpoints as you desire. It does have, you know, we got a few different turrets. What do we got here? This is the Fang. This is, I think, is the AV one. Then we got a Pug, which is a lot like a Bulldog. Get it? Bulldog, Pug. Got the Gecko. That's your just Basilisk, basically. Nice, I've already got bros hooking me up with some. And the only one I didn't cover live there was the Goblin, which is a lot like Cobalt. See right here has a real 50 cal feel to it. On the test server, all of the secondary turrets had all normal optics available to it, scoped, IR, and night vision. So this tank will have a lot of opportunity to defend itself just with the mounted turrets. On the test server, there were no attachments available for the Mammoth Cannon, the main one. I'm not sure if that's intentional or that will be changed before it hits live. So now let's talk about the loadouts. We're going to start in the defense slot. You have an option for a bolstered Bombardment Shield. When your Colossus is deployed, it will emit a shield, and this will toughen it up. The next option is Fallout Hardening, where you're concerned that the moment you pull this thing, someone's just going to drop an orbital strike on you and end you. Don't worry, Nanite Ned's got an answer for that. Now you can make sure you are not knocked sky high just by deploying, but you can take this defense slot to reduce the effective impulse on your tank. That would be from Bastion Bombardment or Orbital Strikes or other colossal tanks. And it also gives you straight damage reduction to Orbital Strikes. And finally, you can get the good old classic Nanite auto repair system. You're going to see real soon why that's generally just a bad idea, and this thing should not operate without a repair sunderer next to it at all times. Now for live servers, I could see that orbital bombardment resistance being a very serious thing, but for the test server, orbitals were turned off, so I went ahead and loaded up on bolstered bombardment. Then after your defense slot, we're going to move on to the logistics slot. The first slot is the Colossal AMS. All of you fight support people that are tired of your Sunderer not having a mega death cannon, don't worry, Nanite Ned's got a solution for that as well. Turn your Colossus tank into an AMS, and all the Sunderer drivers will be jealous of you. Now the second option is the one I went with, especially because we were operating on test, but it enables cordium regeneration over time. It restores 33 cordium a second when you're not using it. This is really handy. The Bombardment Shield of the Colossus is supported by cordium. Now, without regular resupplies of ants, it will rapidly be depleted. And I gotta tell you, this tank isn't super tanky without it. So you're either gonna have to have an ant nearby, or you're gonna wanna bring this one along. Now, the tank does damage to itself when it is in the MAD mode or it's deployed as a Skylance battery. And the improved cooling system will reduce that damage. Okay, so let's get those loaded up, and then let's go ahead and circle back to the utility slot. Right now, the main option is the Mass Accelerator Drive, or MAD for short. When you activate it, you will immediately consume 1000 cordium, and for 15 seconds, your main cannon shots do 50% more damage and go 100% faster. Unfortunately, by now, I had burned all of my merit, so I can't tell you every upgrade tier, but I think it has to do with cordium cost reduction and cooldown time reduction. On that note, I don't know if it'll make it to live. While the turrets were all slated with certs, the defense, logistics, etc. was using merit to unlock it. Or if you don't want something as epic as the Mass Accelerator Drive, you could just get fire suppression. No, seriously guys, this main cannon, when not deployed, has an absurd amount of drop. But we'll get to that in a moment. But enough of this unimportant BS. Let's get to the real question. What about Luma Fiber and Horns? Sure. A little bit of battle damage. You can put your camos on it. Camos can go on. It does have the Luma Fiber as well. Treads are a little bit wonky on it. I don't know that they stretch a little bit, but I don't know if there's any way to not do that. As of this test, there were no horns available. I fully expect they will rectify that before it hits live servers. So you've got your Colossus tank all set. You've got your entourage, and you've driven it up from the warp gate. Let's go live to a Bastion battle. Yes, DeRoach, it is pulled with outfit resources. It is pulled from warp gates or tech plants, and it uses outfit resources. Okay, let's do some range tests here. What do we say here? Oh wow. That's a hit. Let's see how many it takes to kill him. We're just gonna murder this. We're just gonna murder this Bastion real quick, guys. Let's see how I'm doing on. Okay, I've got repairs. I think I've got cordium around too. I don't know what the cordium is used for, because right now I don't see it getting used. Man, that... Okay, this feels like... This feels like a... Oh, oops, I don't know if I was supposed to blow that thing up so bad. Sorry! Sorry about that. It's a Bastion killer, guys. You better keep your Bastion moving, or these things are going to wreck them. So guys, the short version is when it is in Skylance battery mode, this thing can just rip apart Bastions. But here, while we were en route to the main battle, we met the Colossus tank's greatest enemy. It's called a wall. It's really bad at going up hills and stuff, and it takes damage like easily. Oh, okay, one down. Yeah, you're gonna have to just shove me through this, Boozer. I know we've all looked at those walls and kind of been like, what's the point when they're spaced so far apart? But whoever that level designer was that was 7-8 years ago putting Amherst together was like, I know what's coming. We got to get some walls on this bridge.
Like those walls will finally serve to stop colossal tanks from moving around the map. Come on. Get over you. Yes. You bring the Sunders wrong. You bring the Sunders just to shove it over obstacles. That's all it is.
So guys, it makes sense to me. It's a big heavy tank. It's not supposed to be perched on mountaintops. So driving, you're going to have to make sure you kind of stick to the roads or flat terrain. Now obviously the thing's meant as a Bastion killer to be deployed and using its Skylance battery. But man, it's just like lobbing water balloons if you are not deployed firing that mammoth cannon. Trying a range find on the Sunderer down in the Bastion was next to impossible. It has some mega drop. I should have deployed my mass accelerator drive, but just newbie to the mechanics. Now here you can see I'm trying to set up to use my Skylance battery to kill that Citadel shield, but I can't aim down anymore. Once you're deployed and you are trying to use that Skylance battery, if you're on flat ground, you are only shooting stuff in the air. Now you are going to see a couple NC rounds come streaking at me here shortly, and that's because they were able to set their tank at a steep enough angle and that I was up above that they were able to get some shots on me. My terrain was not flat enough to deploy, so I had to take cover and go back to engaging the air. Since you are engaging at such long ranges, there is some lead required to hit these things, especially the hard points that end up being relatively flat in relation to your tank. But there is no drop, and the projectile speed on the Skylance battery is so high, it doesn't take a lot to hit these things. I think one thing people can kind of rejoice in this Colossal tank is it is really squad-based. The Bastion with 48 seats, 10 cannons, plus the driver, all the ESFs you need, it's really a platoon type of vehicle. Whereas the Colossus certainly needs to be supported by a repair Sunder at minimum. A full Ant can help it tank some serious damage. A Sky Guard and an ammo bus could do a lot as well. But you can build a very functional, pointed by a Colossus, Bastion killing armor column with 6 to 12 people. So small squads will literally be able to counter a platoon. But you got to keep in mind here, guys, I am fighting basically unmanned Bastions. Sure, there's a pilot, maybe a couple guys in them. So the Mauler cannons are going. But in general, you're not going to have free shots like this. Between the Mauler cannons, the mini Daltons on the bottom, and all the ESFs coming out at you, if they really get damage on you, you will get wrecked in one of these things. So making sure you are supported with Cordium, supported with anti-air, everything you need to hold up so you have time to take down those hard points, is going to be a key aspect of using this war asset. Now, there wasn't a lot of opportunity for ground vehicle play during this test event, but in CQC fights, the lack of maneuverability and the massive drop on the cannon made it a really uncomfortable tank to do battle with, at least the main cannon. I could see the Fang and the Gecko really doing some serious work, but definitely cannot depend on the Mammoth turret for that stuff. Unless you're going to be activating the mass accelerator drive, and then all of a sudden it becomes a pretty serious weapon. I could definitely see high-speed roving harasser groups causing these tanks serious grief, unless the armor column is well built around them. Now, the Colossus tanks are spotted at a much longer range than other vehicles, and there is no stealth option to shield that, which I think is good. A Bastion is going to need to know where these things are firing at them from. On top of showing up on the minimap, if they are deployed, that shield will give them away rapidly. You're not hiding away in any trees or anything there. Once the shield is down, they still can take quite a beating. You can see 10,000 health there on the right of my screen. At the same time, they are such a massive target without the shield that they really are sitting ducks if that thing goes away. The explosion effects are pretty cool, very Bastion Fleet Carrier-esque, with a few additional fireballs coming off them. And then it is one thing to drive them around and see them doing damage, but how about on the receiving end? The reality is a 2-2 Vanguard with its shield up is still the king of CQC battles. This Colossus was dealing with the damage from MAD and a little bit of extra damage from the tower. But without some serious support, they will not hold up in CQC fights. So anyways, we've kind of covered all the negatives about the main cannon, the Mammoth Cannon on the Colossus. The one thing it does bring to AV fights is impulse. Man, when you're getting shot at by this thing, you are getting knocked all over the place, especially if you're in a Sunderer. Just getting accelerated in all sorts of random directions, so you can't really build up speed where you need to go. So, yeah, a team could take one down unsupported, but 1v1, they would still be quite the task to handle. So, fellow Araxians, there you have it. The war on Araxis has escalated, and now we're getting another colossal update. Along with it, we are expecting to get a Bullpup SMG, the Punisher. Its main feature is that it comes with a grenade launcher that changes based on which class you equip it with. I'll be doing a full review of that for you right away when it hits the live servers. And then finally, war assets are expanding a bit that you'll be able to install modules at facilities that can give you things like discounted vehicles or regeneration for infantry. So lots of other minor details in this patch that even on test are not in their final form, but I will give you a full rundown on all those when those details are hammered out. Channel news is that the command center is back up and running, and I am pushing live streaming on YouTube and Twitch. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you to everyone that's come out and supported, and it's going to be more fun with all the events coming up, especially surrounding Outfit Wars. Really dialing it in to make that an awesome esports cast. So please do take a minute to ensure you're subscribed, you got those notifications going so you know when I do go live. Also be worth looking through the description. I've got links to all my other socials, including Twitch. I'm streaming on Twitch as well, so you can take your pick where you want to watch. Helps me out a lot, and it makes sure you don't miss any awesome moments. That's all for right now, fellow Araxians. And until next time, I will see you Planetside.